Hey, friends. All right. So today's March, or we're in March, and I'm going to share with you a nervous system expansion forecast and an energy frequency forecast for this month. March is the month that essentially sees the end of winter as well as the beginning of spring. So it's a month of transition in some way where we have one foot in the within, in the regulation, restoration piece of our psyche and of our bodies and of life, of nature. And then we have one foot in the without, in that movement of new birth, of creation, of expansion. So we are ending our rest cycle and moving into creation. This is a time where the days will finally start being longer than the nights. So today, during this live, I'm going to provide you with essentially a nervous system forecast, like what are the energies and the emotions and perspectives to embody, to learn to essentially stay regulated as we move into expansion. Then I'm going to provide you with an energy forecast, including kind of the color that imbues this month, as well as the crystals to work with. I love crystals. So that you can stay grounded, you can stay open, you can stay inspired throughout the whole month without abandoning yourself, without fully shifting totally too quickly out of this place of rest and regulation into this moment of creation and rebirth. And then I'm going to finish this forecast with a brief expansion practice that's going to use both some nervous system tools as well as energetic and using the color that we came up with this month. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ilsa. Welcome. I'm an absolute spiritual nerd, a bookworm. I'll tell clients sometimes that I'm a closeted energy healer because I deal more with psychology and the nervous system, but I also do a lot of energy work, as you will see even in this forecast. I'm a dog mama, a bookworm. Professionally, for the last 18 plus years, I've worked as a psychotherapist, an expansion expert, and a strategist for entrepreneurs and leaders. I essentially teach my clients how to rewire their nervous system, their lives, their bodies, their businesses for easeful growth, for a deeply nourishing and luscious receiving paradigm, and as well as for joyful results and wealth. And all of that without all that rub, that friction of second guessing ourselves, of getting overwhelmed, of stressing out, of sabotaging our progress. So this is my intro. And then I always have, especially this is the first, we're right at the beginning of the month. And so I always open 2 to 3, sometimes 4 if I have more space, of my one-on-one intensive at 60% off. And so if you desire to shift out of contraction into that really yummy place of regulation, and then that really inspiring and exciting space of expansion, and you want to discover how to unlock the potency and the potential of your nervous system so that you can become that most loving, peaceful, powerful force in your life and create more in your business from this real place of ease and groundedness, then I want to invite you to book one of those Wired for Wealth Intensive with me. It's 90 minutes, one-on-one, 60% off. And I'm going to teach you my proprietary process to essentially come out of contraction and anchor yourself deeply into regulation and expansion. And we're also going to discover what are your unique wounds and blocks that are keeping you from really having access to the fullness of you and the fullness of your receivership. All right, so let's get, if you want to book one of these sessions, you want to get more details on what's included, click the link in the description of this training. All right. So as I tune into the energy of March, and I also tune into my nervous system and how my nervous system is receiving that energy of March and what my nervous system is wanting to do with it. What I'm sensing here is that there's a sense of wanting and allowing an easeful transition into doing and creating. So this is a time where we want to start, when we want to allow being, because a lot of winter is about being. It's about really discovering what matters most to us. It's about resting and repairing everything that has drained us over the spring, summer, and even some of the fall. The fall, we start to settle back in a little bit. But so here we're really wanting to allow being to motivate and to be present and to infuse our doing. So as I was tuning in into the energy of nervous systems, of this energy of both regulation and expansion, as well as the energy of this March, what I got was that what we need to work with is creating from rest. Essentially, one foot still anchored in regulation and restoration, in being really connected to our soul, to our deep longing, to what nourishes us. And then one piece of it, one foot anchored in that kindling that's coming alive of something new that wants to be birthed, and really feeling into, as we're staying in regulation and we're staying in rest, we're feeling into this impulse for new life. And we're starting to move slowly towards it from this energy of possibility. So as we step out of winter into spring, out of the cave of hibernation into new growth, this is a month to review what you want to leave behind, like what you want to shed and what you want to leave behind in that cave. You know, for a lot of us, we think of January 1st at that place of new birth, but really that's just something we created in our collective in modern life because it made sense. We want to celebrate the new year. We want to have New Year's resolution. And I actually think that that's partly why so many New Year's resolution fail, because they come too early. Literally, our bodies are not wired, our nervous systems are not wired to start new things and to get really into this energy of doing, of motivation, of being in action in January, and not even really in February. But in March, that's when that impulse is aligned with life, and that's when that impulse can start to root. So I might even invite you guys to think of, like, what were the New Year's resolution you created back in December or January, and check in whether they still feel, are those still alive, and are they new? Do you want to take them over again? They might be that new birth that wants to come out of you. So what we're doing here is we're deciding what we want to leave behind, what we've shed as we were hibernating, what is no longer ours, what is no longer in alignment, what is no longer feeling nourished within us by our lives, what is no longer feeling nourishing in terms of what we're doing, and what doesn't feel expansive, both in your life and in your business. So there's two sides to it. You're leaving behind the old ways of being, feeling, thinking, behaving that are no longer in resonance, in coherence with what you want to create. And you're starting to really allow this newness, this aliveness to start to grow and go from this kindling to really, like, taking on this energy, this fire within you. And so here's my little homework for you from a nervous system perspective. Throughout this month, throughout March, I want to invite you to play with rewiring your nervous system towards a creative process, a doing that emerges from and moves in rest. And so for you, that might mean being in a slow flow. It might mean a sense of relaxation with what is, and what has been, while also holding a spaciousness as you decide your next step. It might be a sense that there's plenty of time and you don't need to push or rush. And I say that because for those of us who are entrepreneurs, often when like March is this time where it feels like it's no longer the beginning of the year. We're starting to edge into the second quarter, and there can be like this pressure, like if the first couple months haven't been like really expansive and haven't been in full flow and movement, then March can start to feel like this pressure can start to happen, when in fact, it, you know, based on how we're wired, based on nature, based on our nervous system, we're not actually supposed to create massive explosions right away in the first 2 months of the year. Without that, can easily lead to dysregulation. It's normal to kind of like start ramping up. So now's the time where things to start to shift. So remove all this pressure and sense into what would it be like to create from this place of, I have plenty of time. I have plenty of space, plenty of energy. There's no need to push. There's no need to rush. Almost like a deep knowing internally that things are actually going to get done faster and produce better results when they come from this deeply rooted place, as well as this vastness of possibility. So what you want to ask yourself as you're moving into this month is, what does moving from rest, creating from rest, mean and feel like to me? What does it feel like in my body when I think of doing that? What does that mean? What does that look like? What is the felt sense or the emotion that comes with it? Does it feel like peace? Does it feel like relief? Does it feel like joy or delight? Does it feel like ease? Let your body recognize that frequency of being, that emotional texture, and let your nervous system acclimatize to it. And so your work this month is to really cultivate that frequency within you. Like over the whole month, taking some sacred pauses to ask yourself, am I moving from rest, from center, from spaciousness and possibility? Or is there another energy, an energy that feels contracted, that doesn't feel safe, that doesn't feel regulated or in coherence? Is that energy moving through me and pushing me in terms of what I'm creating? So that's the nervous system piece of this forecast. Over and over, come back to rest, teaching your nervous system that it is safe to be you, that it is safe to be here, that it is safe to trust your own unique flow, rhythm, process, and that it's safe to be exactly where you are as you're moving towards what is possible. So that's that place of being at peace with what is, while being in possibility with what's coming. That's the energy and that's the frequency we want to embody in our nervous system in March. That is what will allow us to really step into the fullness of spring and summer, like from a really grounded, anchored, regulated place, and really be able to move into expansion without sabotage, without having a cost, without having these yo-yo where our energy collapses when it's too much. So we're done with the nervous system piece. Let's talk about energetically. So energetically, big shocker, the color that is coming to me as I really tune into the energy of March. And when I do that, I almost think of, if March was a being that had its own personality, its own desires, like what would be its favorite color? And of course, the color that came to me was green. In my case, it was like a deep green, like almost, and I'm going to play around with you guys with these when I talk about, but like something like deeply anchored, dark green. So green from a psychological perspective, calms our brain. It also allows ourselves to open our heart. It helps us ground in some kind of calm certainty, and it has a sense of bravery or courage associated to it. The frequency of green holds both the sense of being with doing. It is both a really relaxing and calming color, like you see it a lot in baby's room and all of that, but it's also a really inspiring and motivating color. Like it helps with depression, it helps with anxiety, like it helps with allowing ourselves to move forward. Like green represents new birth, the little green shoots. It represents new possibilities, optimism, luck, abundance. And not surprisingly, I picked green, or green picked me. March chose green. St. Patty's Day, the spring equinox. In some ways, March has been infused with the energy of green and the color of green in our collective for a very long time. So, the way to make this very personal and unique to you and to create a unique connection energetically to the month of March is you might meditate on which kind of green shows up for you. When you think of March and green, when you feel into this sense of possibility, of new birth, of abundance, of creating from rest, of essentially snow on the ground and little shoots moving right underneath the ground, what kind of green shows up for you? I mean, there's so many different kinds of green, right? So find your unique green. And here's the thing I will say to you. If a totally different color shows up for you, like you're thinking of new birth, you're thinking of abundance, you're thinking of creating from rest, and purple shows up, then go with that. Your body knows, work with the color that comes to you because that is probably what you need. And your body always knows best. So you want to kind of claim your own green. And we're going to work with that a little more, a tiny bit later. But before we do that, I want to go over the crystals of this month. So the first crystal I'm including in this, as I was really playing with a lot of the crystals that I have, and just shifting into the and steeping into the energy of March, into the energy of abundance, and releasing what no longer fits. Remember that March is this transition place where we are still anchored in rest, still anchored in letting go and shedding what we don't want to take forward with us into this new birth, this new growth, while also having a foot into what's coming. And so the first stone that I have for you today is fluorite. I'm going to give you a little example of what it looks like. You can see it has all these different colors, and it moves anywhere from white all the way to deep purple. Here's another example of it. This is a little lighter of a shade. But the reason I'm sharing this stone for you from March as the first stone is because fluorite helps cleanse and purify the body and the mind, and helps us come back to a sense of resilience, a sense of stability, a sense of grounded calm. So this is the stone you want to use as you're really taking in and doing some deep work within you to figure out, what is it that's no longer aligned? What is it that I don't want to take with me into the rest of this year, into the new birth of spring? Then you want to have that stone potentially just holding it in your hand. If you have it, you can have it as a pendant. You can have it next to you in your desk or next to your bedside table. It's a nice stone to help you balance out and shed what is no longer needed and you no longer want to engage in your life. So that's the first stone that I want to bring forward. And that's kind of the stone, like as we're shedding winter, we're shedding what's no longer alive for us and what's no longer nourishing for us. Fluorite is a great stone to work with that. The second stone I have, and this is one of my favorites, is peridot. I hope I'm saying these stones right. English is not my first language, so I don't always know. As you can see, I don't know if you can see this, but this is a very light, very bright green. And I think of this stone as the friendliest stone out there. It is a stone of happiness, of peace. It helps foster a deep sense of optimism, releasing blame, regret, shame. It's also a stone that helps stimulate inspiration and creativity. So it kind of has, again, um, that double side where we're anchored in peace and happiness, and we're also starting to move towards this inspiration, this creativity, this movement of possibilities. So this is also a stone that's great for shedding limiting beliefs. So again, it's that stone of transition. So you can shed what's no longer, what's keeping you tight and small, and start to anchor in possibilities, in expansion. So that's peridot. The next stone I'm going to bring forward is aventurine, or green aventurine. Now, this one is a little dark, and aventurine comes in all sorts of shades. Normally, they're lighter than this. So it could actually be that I think this is aventurine and it's actually a different stone. I'm not sure. But I was told it's aventurine. It's on the darker tone, and they kind of move along. But unlike peridot, which is transparent, aventurine tends to be opaque. So it moves anywhere from like a medium green to a dark green, and it's more opaque. Now, aventurine is kind of a stone of abundance and prosperity. It brings about positive energy. It's more of an action, a doing stone. So now we're starting to shift into the fullness of spring, so to speak. It brings motivation. It helps release lack and low confidence and stimulates energy, growth, creation, feeling confident, courage. And it just really helps anchor into the energy of growth and creation and more than enough. We are more than enough, and there is more than enough. So, whereas this stone is lighthearted and soothing, adventuring is enlivening. Like there's a sense of aliveness that really shows up with this stone. And then I'm going to give you one last one, and I almost left it out, but it was calling me. It wanted to be included in this transition between winter and spring in March, and that is moss agate. I love this stone. It feels mystical to me. It's weird and funky, and there's just something with it. It has that white of the snow and then that green of something new coming into it. Now, moss agate is a stone of balance. It's a stone of alignment, of coherence. It's a stone of bringing opposites together in harmony. On a physical level, it actually supposedly helps balance the right and left hemisphere of your brain and boost both mental functioning in terms of clarity, bringing clarity, and creativity. So the left and the right again, like the clarity, that deep sense of what you need to do, you're able to focus, and also the creativity. On an emotional level, it is a stone that brings harmony, that brings serenity, that allows us to trust and be at peace with our life and with the process. Moss agate is also called the gardener's stone because it has this energy of promoting growth, of new beginning, of nourishment. And as I was sensing into it, it really brings this nervous system forecast that we're playing with of creating from rest. It's literally, it feels like this is a stone that bring both of these seeming opposite, like rest and creation seem to be opposite it. It actually brings them into some kind of marriage where something amazing gets to come out and be created from these two energies that seemingly seem opposite. So it brings both that energy of rest and restoration and regulation with the energy of creation, of expansion, essentially finding that sweet spot, that balance between both. So if you find, for example, that you're someone who's swinging the pendulum, you can either be in rest or you can be in creation energy and possibility energy in doing. You're either being or you're doing, but you don't know how to be in both at the same time. You don't know how to be in that center. This might be a great stone for you to work with. Same thing, you can have it around your neck, you can have it on your desk, you can have it by your bedside table, you can have it as a stone that you just keep in your pocket. So this is the piece around the energy forecast for this month. We are working with the energy of green, unless you got something different. And we are working with the energy of new life, of possibility, mixed in with this sense of calm and soothing and restful energy. And now I'm going to take you through a brief practice that you can play with throughout this month. So whenever your nervous system, whenever you're feeling contracted, whenever you're feeling like you're in an energy of pushing, of rushing, of not enoughness, and you feel out of alignment with this idea of creating from rest, your nervous system, you can feel this, that you're dysregulated, that you're overwhelmed. So you're out of alignment of creating from rest, and you can come back to this practice, and it's going to be just a couple minutes. And so the first thing I'm going to invite you to do is to bring to mind that particular and unique shade of green that you got. And it's usually whatever shade you got, there's going to be an aspect of it that is soothing, relaxing, restorative. And there's also going to be an aspect of it that feels invigorating, that feels inspiring, that feels like something new is coming. Now, if you got a totally different color, then work with that color. And when you feel that color in your body, what is the shade of it? And what does it bring up for you? What is the emotional tone to it? So whenever you feel out of alignment, whenever you're feeling constricted, overwhelmed, you feel like you're in a place of pushing and rushing, then I want you to bring this color to mind and to start breathing in that color, that shade that is unique to you. And then I want to invite you to look for where is that sense of contraction in your body? Where is that dysregulation, that misalignment? And so once you find it, and usually, sometimes it's in our shoulders, but most of the time, because the vagus nerve and the nervous system kind of flows down, it's going to be somewhere between your throat and your belly. And so you're going to find it, and you're going to put a hand on it. And you might even say, like, if this contraction had a color, what color might it be? And so here I want to remind you, this is a core piece of my work. Contraction is not the absence of expansion. Contraction is always the request for expansion. Contraction is some young, small, stuck part of you that is literally waving a flag and saying, hey, I need help. I need help. I'm struggling with this. I need your help to come back into regulation and expansion. I need your help to come back into a wholeness. So contraction is not the absence of expansion. It is actually your pathway there. It is the request for expansion. Something asking for support inside you. And so here you are, you're gonna find this energy inside you. You're gonna put a hand on it. You're basically saying to this part of you, I feel you, sweetheart. I'm right here. I've got you. I'm with you. And you're going to start tapping wherever that is. Maybe it's your throat, maybe it's your chest, maybe it's your belly, maybe it's in a couple different parts. And you're going to start tapping, and tapping is going to start moving energy, and you're going to start rocking forward and back. Rocking is extremely soothing to the nervous system. It regulates our circadian rhythm. It starts to stimulate the psoas muscle, where a lot of tension and a lot of trauma is held. And rocking has just been shown to help us digest strong, stuck emotional energy. So whenever you feel like you're out of alignment, you're stuck, you're overwhelmed, you find it, you rock, you tap. And then I want to invite you to take that unique green or whatever color you got, that color that is yours, and you want to start breathing it in. You want to imagine that literally that color is rising up from below you. It's pouring down from above you. It's surrounding you, and you're breathing it in, and you're literally bringing that color to this part of you that feels contracted as you're rocking and tapping. Like you're creating a warm, loving blanket around this part of you that feels out of alignment, that feels overwhelmed, that feels scared, that feels not enough. And you're bringing that energy, that deep, luscious, beautiful, soothing, invigorating color of green to this part. And you can start to sense that this green is literally starting to replace whatever color this contraction was, almost like this part of you that felt stuck is breathing in this green with you. Like this part of you is sitting on your lap and you're rubbing their heart or their belly, and you're rocking with them, and you're saying, see, this is possible for us. And so you allow the energy of green or whatever color you received to really start to permeate your whole being, and to start to surround and permeate this part of you, this place that felt tight, that felt overwhelmed, that felt out of alignment with this concept of creating from rest. And then when you feel full and you feel like something in you has just settled, then you can stop rocking and you can stop tapping. And you can just feel this green energy all inside you and all around you. Like you're literally changing the fabric of your being. You're letting this energy of both rest and abundance and creativity and possibility infuse every cell in your body, infuse every neurons and parts of your brain. You're letting it infuse every single part of you, both the parts that are whole and expansive and are excited for what's coming, and also the parts that are afraid. So that's your energy practice. Finding the contraction inside your body, tapping on it, rocking, letting this part know, I've got you, sweetheart. I'm right here with you. We are going to take a bath in this new energy. And you can let that come in as much as you want. And then you're going to breathe in and surround yourself and surround this part with that luscious green energy of both the end and the calming and the soothing and the repairing, the healing of winter, and the excitement, the expansion, the new life, the new growth of spring that is coming. All right, that's what I have for you. Remember, if you want to learn my proprietary process for bringing your nervous system out of contraction into expansion, I open usually 3 sessions at 60% off every month for people to really work on both like unlocking the power of their nervous system for creating more, and really grounding and anchoring themselves in a deep sense of safety, a deep sense of worthiness, and a deep sense of trust and possibility, so that we can create with so much more ease and we can receive in a way that feels really nourishing and really abundant. All right, that's what I have for you. Happy, wonderful March. We've got great energies coming.